What is up everyone, it's your boy Androidpaw, and today we are gonna talk about Blasphemous. It has everything. Religious imagery, check. And isn't that just a cool F?
Wow!
A silent stoic main character, check.
Wow!
Wonderful visuals, check.
Wow!
And all the bullshit reasons why you keep dying in the game, check. Oh wait, that's Dark Souls.
Dorime.
Blasphemous is amazing. You play as the Penitent One and are with the Brotherhood of the Silent Sorrow. You start off the game in an area filled with bodies of your fellow brothers as you are the last remaining member of this order. As someone who has played a lot of Metroidvania games and other platformers, developers really love to hide things at the start of the game if you decide to go left, so it's always worth a shot checking. The game eases you in by showing you the controls and how to heal yourself right at the beginning, because I'm not gonna lie, you're gonna be healing a lot in Blasphemous. Well, I can't heal that.
Dorime.
Shortly after being able to use the controls, you are then thrust into a fight with the game's first boss. And you're just in the tutorial. Just because you're big doesn't mean you can beat me. Come at me, boy. You then meet with Deogracias, who guides you for the first half of the game. If you notice, he kind of looks like you because he's also doing his penance. He is taking note of what's happening in Custodia, and yes, it's Custodia with a V and not a U, cause fuck you, the game says so, that's why.
Fuck you too!
And it's spelled in Latin. He will then provide you instructions on how to progress with the story, by telling you to do the 3 great humiliations. By the 3 great humiliations, Deogracias means kill 3 bosses. That's it. You can do these bosses in any order that you like. However, the most optimal path is to fight the 10 Piedad first, which references the Pieta by Michelangelo. But if you're a dumbass like me, who went to the Lady of the Charred Visage first, well, you're prepping yourself for pain. This boss has a really sad backstory. I mean, all of the bosses do. For the 10 Piedad though, he was just a normal human who slept in the arms of the statue and woke up inside the beast. His name just literally translates into have mercy. So by killing him, you just granted his wish. After defeating the first of the 3 bosses in the game, you then get taken into a realm where you meet one of the Holy Guardian Visages. They then provide each of the key items once you defeat each of the bosses tied to the 3 humiliations. You can then continue to your way to completing the remaining humiliations. One of my favorite areas in the game is the area going to the convent of Our Lady of the Charred Visage. Because 1, it is snowy and the snow level is just really cool, pun intended. And 2, in order to progress around the area, you need to be patient and play with the wind. Going against the wind just drops you into an abyss of your doom. In my opinion, the boss fight with the Lady of the Charred Visage is the hardest among the humiliations, mainly because your second phase has some unavoidable attacks. In the order of the bosses you're supposed to fight, she's supposed to go second. However, you can choose to skip her and do the 3rd boss and the 10 Piedad first to avoid backtracking. After beating the Lady of the Charred Visage, you can then run down to Hondo and try to find the next boss, the Tres Anguistas, or in English, the 3 Anguishes. The area is absolutely beautiful and is called Grievance Ascends due to a phenomenon called the Groan. It's heavily inspired by the Initiatic Well in Quinta de Regaliera in Portugal, which is described to be an inverted tower. And an inverted tower it is indeed. The area is mainly a vertical descent where there are tons of enemies, ghosts, who will not be visible until you get to them, and these Wise of Frankenstein looking motherfuckers or rapers, who pop in and pop out. Once you realize you can just parry their attack, they're a piece of cake. The boss fight with the 3 Anguishes is absolutely fun, and it's a direct opposite of your experience going down the Grievance Ascends. You fight the boss on a vertical climb upward similar to that boss in Metal Slug 2, or that one annoying fight in Mega Man X6 with the Donut of Doom. The best part of this boss is that they have a collective HP, and you can hit any of them before they go on to phase 2, where they join their bodies. I got lucky in this fight and got them to an area where they would all get hit by my spell, and it quickly drained their HP. This boss was named the Three Anguishes, possibly due to the fact that there are three sisters that prayed to the miracle not to be wed and turned them into the Egg of Deformity. After defeating the last boss of the Humiliations, you can now then go to the Mother of Mothers and slowly work your way towards beating the game. Now, there is an instance where you get to the Bridge of the Three Calvaries before completing the 3 Humiliations. Take a shot every time I say 3 because this game loves that number. And you meet with Deogracias again, providing you information that the gate will only open if you have witnessed the 3 holy visages. Visages? I don't know.
His sculpted holiness watches us, rigid, from on high. But it is the relief of the bronze that dictates who is worthy of passing under its adorned arch. Bind the holy visages, and the bronze will know.
Upon completing the Humiliations, you then come face to face with Esdras, who's been following you all over Custodia and foreshadowing a fight with him. Esdras comes from the Anointed Legion, who works directly under his Holiness, Pablo Escribar, we'll get to him later, and sees the actions of the Penitent One and the Brothers of the Silent Sorrow a heresy against the miracle and his holiness. This boss has 3 stages where he uses his mace or hammer looking weapon to bash you, and once you chip away some of his health, he then starts using his lightning powers. Then comes his final phase, which is the most annoying one. He has his sister Perpetua, who's a flying angel ghost, aid him in battle. There's a way to avoid the fight though with Esdras. However, it will take you some time to backtrack and look for the area. You need to get to the resting place of the sister and the incomplete scapular. This is accessible via the Wounds of Eventide DLC. They say that Esdras lost his mind and talks to his sister as if she's there. This is rendered moot though, as you can fight Perpetua before facing Esdras, and Perpetua acts like some sort of guardian angel to her brother. Before we go on to the portion where we tackle the next 3 bosses, one thing I noticed is that there is a lady named Viridiana, who hangs around the entrances to boss rooms, and she offers to help you with the boss fights. As I went on to fight my first boss, which was the lady of the Charred Visage, not Piedad because dumbass, she heals me when my HP gets low. You will keep noticing her in your next boss fights, slowly aging as you keep requesting her assistance, which you can only do 3 times. She then dies if you ask her help for the 3rd time and provides you a spell which protects you from projectiles. And there would be a secondary event with her if you keep her alive and ignore her, and she just provides you the same spell but without the guilt of her dying by helping you. The developers do know how to tug at our heartstrings.
Penitent one in silence, now resume your journey.
Dorime.
Once you've crossed the Bridge of the 3 Calvaries, you can then slowly make your way into the Mother of Mothers. The artwork in this area is amazing. The church layout is beautiful, adorned with gold ornaments and these chalices that hit you if you mistime your jumps. You can then work your way towards the first boss, which can be found in the church, Melquiades, the Exhumed Archbishop. This boss looks like he's from the Coffin Dance meme. Jokes aside, the boss design was based on the Catacomb Saints. There were skeletons or bodies that are adorned with gold and jewels, and are positioned similarly to Melquiades. The boss fight is fun and not too hard. You have to drop him by hitting all the hands holding him up, and once he drops, you have to wail on his head, rinse and repeat, and this guy is done for. You then get a mask of one of the archdeacons, which allows you to activate the elevator, which will eventually take you to his holiness once you collect all 3. You then move along to the sleeping canvases. The area is wonderful. It's filled with artwork and artifacts that were deemed heretic and blasphemous. Eh? Roll credits? Eh?
No.
Exposito is one of the most obnoxious boss fights in the game. As you've seen in the intro, Exposito is the only boss with an instant death move. His fight is very annoying due to the fact that the weak point is with the snake-looking thing that moves around a lot. In the lore of the game, Exposito's mother was burned at the stake for being called a witch. Before his mother died, she requested to have a wickerman. Wicker figure built in her likeness so that her son would not miss her. After defeating Exposito, you then gain access to the room which holds another mask you need to progress the story. The last boss you have to tackle before being able to reach his holiness lies within the confines of the Wall of the Holy Prohibitions. You have to navigate through halls and rooms with the use of keys you have to find along the way. You then get to fight the boss, Quirce, returned by the flames. He is a quite challenging boss. He has great movement, telegraph leap strikes, a strong dash attack, and some sword attacks. The worst thing about his fight though is being able to find time to heal. I suggest healing after he dashes, as he does have a short vulnerability during this time, or just wail on him to do as much damage as he can. Based on his image, you can see Quirce looks similar to the Penitent one due to him wearing a capirote. He was burned by Inquisitors and got tagged as a heretic, and was brought back by the miracle in an endless cycle of fire. After defeating Quirce, you then gain access to a shortcut that connects the Convent of Our Lady of the Charred Visage. Before we complete the base game, this wouldn't be a Metroidvania without collectibles. Collectibles in this world range from relics, rosary beads, people's bones and body parts. I'm not gonna go through all of the collectibles, however, I will be discussing my favorites during my first playthrough. Now, the first thing on my list I'd like to talk about is the relic called the Three Gnarled Tongues. You can get this relic to complete the Deogracias quest and hatch their Egg of Deformity. This relic provides access to some areas which you aren't able to reach, providing you a platform to climb or traverse over. The second relic I think is essential is the Blood Perpetuated in Sand. This allows you to turn the floating red motes you see in areas into platforms, allowing you to find additional collectibles along the way. For rosary beads, it will truly depend on your situation. However, one of my favorites is the Calcified Eye of Erudition, mainly due to being able to check your enemy's HP. The knowledge of knowing how much remaining HP your enemy has gives you an idea how hard they are to take down, and just a reminder that this doesn't work on the bosses since you already see their HP bar, and you should switch it out for boss fights to relics that help boost defenses or boost damages. For the bones and body parts, well, my two favorite body parts and bones are as follows. First is the sternum of Vitas the Performer. The description is hella on the nose, man. He inspired the lives of his people through his altruistic actions as well as his inspirational words. You know what that means.
Dorime.
And the second one is the Coxel of June the Prostitute. June Sayer seduced and corrupted the will and vow of chastity of many in the priesthood. I mean, June is a trooper, taking out the bishopric of Custodia. Now we've gotten those out of the way, let's head to the penultimate boss of the game, Crisanta of the Wrapped Agony.
I, Crisanta in penance, excommunicate you, expel you, execrate you, with the blessing of our miracle of the greatest pain.
This boss is a bitch to fight. She is fast, and she can catch you off guard if you don't pay attention and try to study her pattern. Now, the worst thing about Crisanta is that she can parry as well, so you have to be very mindful of her stances. And once you shave off nearly 50% of her HP, Crisanta will then enter her second phase, where she will start using two very annoying moves. One is a charge that propels Crisanta forward straight towards you, which you can block or dodge. However, it is advised to have mastered parrying and blocking at this point of the game, so you can easily work around Crisanta's attacks. Her second attack during her second phase is an air charge that attacks you from a diagonal angle. This can be dodged, however, there will be blasts that can catch you if you don't dodge far enough, or you can just block it and avoid the latter half of the attack. Once you defeat Crisanta, she will then escape after creating one of the coolest moments in the game. You can then go up to the steps and go on your way to fight the final boss of the base game, His Holiness Pablo Escribar.
I curse you forever in name. I bless you forever in death.
Also, no, it's just Escribar, I just like calling him that. Escribar is fairly frail. You can 100 to 0 the guy if you can cancel his attacks. He can hit a bit hard due to his damage being mainly magic damage, but you can hit him with a combo like 4 to 5 times and he will die there. Or, you can use a cheesy strat with the spell Viridiana gave you and use it to deal more damage while hitting him with your sword combos. After beating Escribar's first stage, he then transforms into the last son of the miracle, where now he will attack you with a giant floating sword. He has multiple types of attacks to choose from. Not only that, but he can send out toxic balls, fireballs, shoot out magic purple missiles, laser beams, and use a lightning bolt. So you have to pray for good RNG that when he decides to use attacks, they can be easily dodged. He does deal massive damage if you get hit by that charge beam at the bottom. The annoying part of the fight is not the attacks he uses, but the amount of damage you have to deal to the sword before his weak point is exposed. You have to jump on platforms and try to attack him once his face is exposed, and he can still attack during this, so being a bit careful to not tank any shots during this would be advisable, especially if you do not have a lot of Biliary Flask left. Once you defeat the last son of the miracle, you are then treated to an ending where the penitent one climbs a mountain of ash only to be consumed by it. Based on my research, there are 3 endings to the game, and you have to accomplish a lot of different things to get to each one, which basically adds a lot of replayability to the game. The best thing about the game is that it has a new game plus. You can then continue to choose an oath or a path to spice up your gameplay and add additional challenges to your game. You can unlock more boss fights, and not just that, even if you didn't finish the game, you can play the areas that are from the DLC, including the collaboration the game has with Bloodstained Ritual of the Night. The best thing too is that the developers of the game just announced that they will be releasing a sequel, and that's what got me fired up. I'm really excited for the sequel next year, but for the meantime, I'll just be replaying this game until I get to 100%. Thank you so much for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe so I know you guys enjoy this type of content. I'll see you in the next one. Peace out.